car from the 4Runner. I like this car. It's pretty cool. It's more smooth than the Jeep. I don't know if I'm going to sell the Jeep yet. I don't know yet. It's got 100,000 miles, which isn't bad. It runs well. Little issues, but nothing big. Not what I wanted to talk about today. Going through the Q&A. The private road members got the Q&A coming out, part 4, I think it is. Part 3 or part 4? Part 4 of the Q&A. One of the questions, I get this a lot, is about Deutsche Bank. And that question is, Bix, you've been talking about Deutsche Bank since I've been following you in the early 2000s. At least since 2006, 2007, when I was writing for GATA, the Gold Antitrust Action Committee. Absolutely, I have been. Deutsche Bank took over the derivative book of Bankers Trust. That is where the manipulation was stored by the bad guys, and vast amount of derivatives was written and has been written and can't be unwritten. The way derivatives work is you get all the money up front if you're the guarantor. If you're writing derivatives saying, I'll give you this credit default swap on Volkswagen credit and all that, you get all your money up front, and then it's like an insurance policy. Most of the time, you never have to pay out, especially on sovereign debt derivatives. Well, Deutsche Bank took that to the max, and then once they got into that loop, they could never get out. I've been talking about it so long because it is the plan. It is the plan. It is why Alan Greenspan in the late 1990s, along with Robert Rubin and his little gang, Larry Summers, pushed so hard to have derivatives non-regulated. Keep everything off the balance sheet. Let's not talk about it. You know why? Greenspan said that the free market will work it out. What he really meant was, I know if I give these bankers enough rope, they're going to hang themselves. And that is exactly what's going on, and that's why I've been talking about Deutsche Bank for so long now. And it has been a long time, I agree. I mean, that's 13, 14 years. But the problem hasn't gone away. It's like the problem in 2008 was not solved. It was delayed. And it was March of 2009. I remember Tim Geithner coming out, and I sent out an alert to everybody. It was the bottom of the stock market crash. And I sent out an alert to everybody. I said, Tim Geithner has just announced sustained market manipulation. I don't know how long it will go on, but it is a plan to have sustained market manipulation. You could look at the archives of Road to Ruta, go to roadtoruta.com, do a search for sustained market manipulation. You will find that article. And it was literally the same week as the bottom of the stock market after the 2008 crash. The full court press into market manipulation was 100% guaranteed at that point. I jumped up and down to fix it. Lo and behold, here we are 10 years later. A lot of 10-year derivatives put on back then that are coming due. 10 years later, and we were on the brink of the exact same thing happening as happened in 2008. Now, the question is, will humanity, will you and I, will voters around the world allow another banker bailout? I don't think so. I don't think so because nobody knew at the time what was going on, how criminal the banks were, what this bailout meant, why they were saying, we got to keep on these expert derivative traders because they're systemic to the problem. We got to give them $1 million bonuses even though they caused the problem. It was insane. Now movies and books have been written about it. Never again will it happen. So what do? We are now on the brink of suffering what they've been putting off since 1913, since the creation of the Federal Reserve System. The Federal Reserve System was created not because the bankers wanted to take over, because they found millions of tons of gold in the Grand Canyon. That's exactly why Woodrow Wilson signed the Federal Reserve Act. It was secret. It's not so secret anymore, but it was secret at the time, even though in 1912 there was a front page article on the New York Times. billions and billions of ounces of gold found. Vast amount, will change the world. At the time, only 30 million ounces of gold were circulating in the United States as money. And there was only a couple 100,000. Did I say 30 million? 30 million. There was only a couple 100 million ounces of gold in the world that had been already mined back in the early 1900s. So yes, it was a big deal if they found billions and billions of ounces of gold in the Grand Canyon. Question is it true? Did it really happen? And if you look at my videos and look at all my research, absolutely proven it time and time again. That is why the Federal Reserve was created. That is why this prolonged experiment with fiat money has been allowed to go on. Because now all the chaos is 50 times worse than it would have been in 1913. Maybe 1,000 times worse. But you didn't have to deal with it in 1913. In 2008, they put it off again. The big point when they could have taken it down was 1980. Remember when gold was spiking? And they said, well, Alan Greenspan has rigged the market so well for the past 10 years. Let's continue this game. We'll allow him to rig the market. We'll tell Paul Volcker to jack the interest rates up to 20% to calm the market, the pretend control by the Fed. And then it worked. Hey, lo and behold, we've got another 30, 40 years of prosperity. Da-da-da. Ridiculous. Ridiculous, ridiculous. The game's got to end one day. The problem has always been there's nowhere to go. The bankers hold all the gold. All the gold in the Grand Canyon, it would have to be mined. And do we really want to mine it or need to mine it? Well, if gold was our only option, I'd say, yeah, we need to mine it. But gold is no longer the only option. Cryptos are not only a viable option, it's proven to work for the most part. Yes, there's a lot of criminals in there. Yes, they need to be taken down. Yes, Brock Pierce and Block 1 will go to jail. Yes, all this stuff has to be cleaned up. Tether needs to be shut down. Bitfinex needs to be shut down. BitConnect already got shut down. All this stuff is bad guy stuff. BitConnect got shut down, but who was it? Who was behind it? Who were those mystery owners? Bad guys. The same bad guys that I've been talking about for years. The deep state. That was their little baby. That's why it was allowed to flourish during the first part of the cryptos. Did everybody learn their lesson? No! Not at all. You need transparency and honesty in cryptos. Why are people buying Tether? Why are people buying Bitfinex? Why are people buying into EOS with no transparency at all? They have a constitution or something like that. And I was reading it. I'm like, it's like requiring honesty. I go, well, Brock Pierce already broke that one. Block 1 already broke that one. Where is the audit they promised? They promised an audit on their website. They said that Block 1 will audit all its the ETH that came in to assure the community that they're not using that ETH to buy EOS tokens. That is bullshit, and they know it. That's why they have not released an audit. Remember, truth and transparency. You need that. Ask the EOS lovers, where's the audit? Where's the audit? They'll say, who cares about Block 1? They're done as of June 1st. All right, we'll find out. Let's all go to Jeffrey Dahmer's high-end restaurant and trust that that food is really good. Right? That was my analogy the other day. Yes, it's kind of morbid, but hey, so's what was going on at Block 1, my friends. Anyway, very, very exciting times these days. I think the whole Deutsche Bank thing is worth talking about for 15 years. That is the trigger, the weapon of mass financial destruction. Will the downgrade in the next few hours really matter all that much? Instantly? Not instantly. It's got, I was reading the Deutsche Bank annual report, like I usually do every year. And I remember it says something in there that if they get downgraded one notch, they lose 1.3 billion euro. If they get downgraded two notches, they lose 3 billion euro. So yeah, it is a big deal with a bank that's already literally on the ropes. It is a big deal. And so it'll just exacerbate the problems and probably start that crazy financial spin into oblivion. And then there might be a bailout. Although I read today, now it's leaking that Trump is talking about banning all German automobiles out of the U.S. market. Goodbye, Mercedes. Goodbye, BMW. That would destroy Europe even further. Yes, that is the plan. Destroy the old system, replace it with something new. The old system is massively corrupt, and we got to get rid of it. So it is happening. Everything is happening, my friends. Very exciting time to be alive, to be involved with the cryptos, to be involved with the gold and silver markets. Yes, gold will do well only because based off U.S. dollars, there's a whole lot more dollars in derivatives. But it's not even going to do close to as well as silver. I don't know of any massive hidden silver mines. Small ones, yes. Large ones, no. They had to shut down the Y12 facility that they created the Manhattan Project with. They took out the $500 million or $3.5 billion. Nobody knows exactly how much silver was there. They had to tear down the whole facility because they ran out of silver in the mid-1990s. I've proven that time and time again. Again, go to Road to Ruta. Look up Manhattan Project and you find out all the evidence is there. I hate when people say, oh, bitch, you know what you're talking about gold in the Grand Canyon. There's not that much gold in the world. All the evidence is on Road to Ruta. You guys got to wake up. There's morons out there that challenge me every time. I'm like, what part of evidence don't you understand? Insane, my friends. Anyway, this is Bix. I'm at my destination. I'll talk to you guys later.